Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cantor,
Here.
Councilmember Jennings,
Present.
Councilmember Canes,
Here.
Councilmember Miller.
Here.
Madam Mayor, you have a quorum.
Thank you. I invite everyone that's in the audience and on Zoom to say the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Need approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda. Second.
It's been moved in second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Cantor,
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Councilmember Canes,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Mayor Garrett,
Yes,
motion carried.
thank you. Next, we'll have a presentation from Revize. Brian, you ready?
Yeah. Can you send me the link real quick? I mean, if you're on the internet, if you don't mind me using your computer, I can just go to a few sites.
That's fine.
Then we don't have to deal with all this, so whatever, don't wait for me to pull up the website, so. So I'm Brian, I'm from Revize websites, so we've, been working with the city for a while. We built the website and the features that are on it, so, we were reached out to see some new features that we can kind of enhance what you already have right now, add some more resident engagement with some of the features, that we've now developed since we originally built the site. So I pulled up a few sites just to kind of give you an idea of, some of these capabilities here. So she's sharing her screen right now. I'll share the screen. So first thing are like alerting. So residents can sign up for their own targeted alerts. So it's kind of like a newsletter, but you can sign up for your own newsletter. So, if they're not interested in everything, they can kind of sign up for their specific things that they're looking for. My example here is the City of Auburn Hills. We call it e-notify, and you can sign up for either a text or an email alert. So how it works is when you sign up for, maybe they've got a page here for I-75 construction. Whenever, there's a construction and they update the construction page on the website, it generates an alert. I've signed up for the Auburn Hills alert because I used to live in Auburn Hills, and I get a text and it lets me know, the City of Auburn Hills I-75 construction page has been updated, and it provides a link then right on my cell phone.
Excuse me, Brian, do you have a presentation? You're actually looking at a presentation?
Yeah.
Do you want to go ahead and send it to me and I can?
Well, it's just links on a other websites that we've done, like live examples. So I just had the internet on here connected to our cast this screen. And some other features and things, I'll show you, we can come back and see these things, but I can kind of describe them, and most of them you'll have a good idea, like fillable forms, being able to go right on the website, fill out the form directly, even if there's a payment associated with that. And it's a form builder, so you can really turn anything you want in a fillable form version that then the residents can come in and, get a dog license or, maybe something, start services if you guys do any like utilities like water or anything like that, you can have that all set up. And we can even put a little payment portal right on the form so they can just do everything remote. They're not having to come in and, give a check or anything like that. Especially it's good when, people are having funds for different relief and things like that, a lot of these alerting and the forms and all these things, we're at a disadvantage when offices were closed. No one could really, get these things done, and this kind of moves that, ball along and keeps things going along. I think you are sharing the screen, which is minimized.
You're on. And I'm recording, so.
Okay, whose screen is that? They can maximize that.
For real?
So, I will cut to the chase
Yeah.
for you, is because, we want the website to be updated. We
Yeah.
also want to have text messages. Not text messages that point us to the website to get information, kind of like what you were saying about
Which we have that.
Auburn, like you were saying, Auburn Hills, the actual message comes across the phone saying water
Yeah, like
main
a
break or
push
something like that.
notification and things
Yeah.
like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the refillable forms, that's great. It's basically, we need an overhaul of the website. If we gave you a list of everything that we're looking for, to find out exactly how much that would cost us.
Yes.
And would
Yes.
it be in line in our budget?
Yep, available budgets and things
Yep.
like that, yeah. Yeah, that's what I've got right here on my screen, is he kind of spell cord there for me? What do you got there?
Do you have click share?
Click share?
Yeah.
No. Zoom, Teams,
Well, with ClickShare, don't you just have to put that in the? Jim?
He's fine. But you guys do offer the push notification?
yeah, we can add push on there. We also can add like things into the website, like, if you want the chat box, like so people can communicate, right on with like an AI or, things like that, just to get, common things found easier, just because, those are nice features that when you see them on websites. Better ways to organize like documentation and things like that on your end, so if you wanna be able to search internally on a document for a specific keyword, opposed to just the title of the document, we have a system that actually can scans all the documents, so it's actually more used internally when you have to look up things and figure out, past events. You can make it as search keywords like a street address, and then you're finding like all the records of that, street address in your own agendas and minutes and things like that. And I did see you already have kind of a public service request system. We have one too, so maybe it's worth looking into, like, the advantages and, just, things there. Also like reservation systems, so if you have anything that you're trying to, like reserve, maybe there's like a public space of, meeting areas, or, a lot of times parks have pavilions and things like that people can rent out on weekends for their little, events. We've got a system that's a calendar that people can see available dates that are right there, and then they can then, reserve it. Message comes to your team, and then you guys can approve who's getting the space at that time. So just some things to kind of like enhance, with technology and things like that. There's, I think, also some concerns of like organization on the website, being able to find things a little more easily navigated and things like that. So part of it, we can reorganize the site map, so the structure of the website, how things are found. We can use analytics too on the website and add that for an added feature, because right now with the website, if you don't have analytics hooked to it, you don't really know where people are landing on. You don't know, what dead ends and things people might run into. And just having like a little Google Analytics tied to your website, you can get a lot more data out of it and figure it
Then,
out.
yeah, then we'll know like the percentages of
Yeah.
who looks at
How
what.
long they spend on the page, things like that. And then you can use that to, improve even more, in the future, making things, on that home page, a little more easily accessible. things like that.
What is the, do you guys provide, so, I know another option we were looking at was like, when you wanna text the city, instead of, I guess, calling them, is
Yeah.
that something that you guys provide too, or no?
Like texting specifically.
Yeah, I don't know if you do, but,
Yeah, we have like a system built in on the website that they can write messages to you. And we call it like a citizen request center, so they can go right to your contact us section on the website. And, usually there's like a drop down with different departments, all of them have different email addresses tied to them. So generally, it's the resident in there writing a message on your website, sending you an email for whatever their request is. Maybe it's the zoning person, and then, you know, he's got a question about, you know, his property, or she does, so, but yeah, there's not really a system for sending from my text to get it to you, right now.
okay.
And then I think there was also some talk about a mobile app that you were looking into, you know, making your own mobile app for Lathrup. That's a possibility too. We can build out an app. Right now, you know, we can enhance the existing website for like mobile friendliness and things like that. That way things translate. You know, it already does that, you know, you're not losing any of the functionality when you go on a mobile device, because more people generally will be going to the website than downloading the app itself, just on percentage wise. But we still can make a dedicated app that someone would go to, you know, your Google Store or Play Stores and download the app. And,
Have you guys done that before for another community?
yeah. But the thing is, we actually had some of the first mobile apps. We've been around for like 23 years building government websites. Pontiac was actually one of the first cities that had a mobile app, and we built it for them. But a lot of them have phased that out just because of the mobile friendliness of the new apps and the new websites right now. It's like light speed better than, you know, apps and websites 10 years ago.
App is kind of
So
played
it's just
out.
kind of moving with the technology trends and things like that.
Okay.
You know, we can make anything we want. We build all of our own technologies, so we don't have any other third parties involved. You come to us with an idea, you know, we've got the wizards that they can, you know, whip it up and make it.
Do they still have their app? I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Do they still, does Pontiac still have their app?
Pontiacs, no, they're just using the mobile device, just because they cut that annual fee off and things like that, so, yeah.
Do you have a platform or a standard app, or do you, when you develop an app, do you develop an app specifically for that customer?
Specifically for that customer, yeah.
Do you do any CRM interfacing?
For like your existing
Yeah,
system?
we need a CRM that we would like to, you know, coordinate with everything. Is that anything that you do, or is that, do you work with any companies that do? you know,
Yeah,
that-
no, yeah, we're not involved with CRM integration and things like that, with, you know, your own tools and things like that. I mean, as a company, we use Zoho, you know, internally for our CRM, and then, you know, we use, the actual, like, websites. We built, you know, all the software, and the editing software is our proprietary technology. That's pretty much the extent of,
Who did you say you guys use for CRM? Your CRM?
Zoho,
Zoho.
yeah. Yeah, but I've used, you know, most of the CRMs out here, they're similar kind of
Yeah.
platforms and things you're getting out of them all.
So I think that one is that we're looking for like on the overhaul from Revize. I'm looking at Pontiac's site and it really looks like our site also. But what I saw before is that there were multiple ways to get to the same thing, which might be confusing. So is there a way that we could have like a, like for you to look at the website and like an inventory? Is that what it's not an
It's
inventory.
the map.
It's
Verify the map is efficient and easy to
Yeah.
mapping, and just because I'm not sure, was it 2 years ago you're saying that we did the Revise?
Yeah, a little bit longer than 2
I
years.
think it's longer than that.
Well, it was,
Wait, you're at Pontiac, Michigan's?
Mm-hmm.
You-
I think it looks like ours.
Yeah.
This
It's-
one's,
it's
yeah, this was
similar. It
actually
looks-
just redone. This has a lot of our new features and things built in.
So this is newer, I mean, it looks like it has a lot on here, but it's just, this is
Yeah.
newer, this is considered newer.
Yeah, the Pontiac.mi.us. Is that where you're
Uh-huh.
at? Yeah, I don't know if you have a mouse right now, like the scrolling feature, it like scrolls like single pages at a time opposed to just that slow scroll bar. And then that helps residents, not get so lost on the website. They've got these 5 pages that they can look at for like, one's of a calendar, one's news events, services, things like that. And then that search bar in the middle, that's our enhanced searching capability. So originally you would have like a Google listing, and you would just get like the top keyword searches through Google, which is kind of hit or miss when you've got a broad topic. So this is a curated search that actually looks for specific keywords within the website, and then it can give you breadcrumb trails of like where to find it.
I think we've just kind of kept adding things to the site instead of updating, getting rid of some of the old stuff, because you can click on some of the things and it takes you back, 4 years or more.
Okay. Yeah. That happens with websites. They're kind of like paint on a wall. People just kind of put layer and layer after, for so long, and then, you kind of have to do some house cleaning.
Yeah, it needs to be cleaned up for sure.
It's basically the same stuff.
I mean, I get what you're saying. It's a
So,
cool website layout. Not their standard.
you said what? Like, not, anyway. I guess that's, if there's a proposal for that, just to see like, kind of like, looking at Pontiac's, not as busy as Pontiac's. There are some repeating pages that's on here, but I guess that's, you need to. I'm looking at this, I'm looking at the search. The search seems to be for the internet period, not for.
Yeah, another one that's got the search one is Olympia, Washington. That one is, they actually have like a video playing and everything you can have right on the video, on the homepage. Yeah, and with the sites too, the content and putting up pages, someone might have made a duplicate page. You have the ability to add more pages to your website after it's already been up. So,
Right.
you can't always control the content that people are putting on their sites once they deliver them. We're gonna, deliver it with, and multiple links. Like, there's sometimes though you want multiple ways to get to an area. So maybe on one page you've got a link that's sending them to, the agenda. But then you also need your agendas stored in a central location for, finding things like that. But if it is, what we call the mega menu with the drop downs that gives you everywhere, if those are duplicated and sending, the same place, yeah, that's, needs to get cleaned up. But, there are other scenarios that it is beneficial to, maybe have a link or, like a little hyperlink somewhere that's taking you to something that might be found in another way on the website. So
I do like Olympia's website. They have, I like the area where you have, it's kind of more laid out, but it says employment, online services, utility billing. Instead of
just
having
one
to
page.
do a drop down, it's on the main page where.
Yeah, if you scroll down
you
one
keep
drop.
scrolling down, and it's a more interactive way to find those.
yeah,
Yeah, Olympia's website is.
this was like
Nice.
website of the year, like last year. Olympia's is it's a good one to show off of showing our
Nice.
capabilities, and they have the content that fills it out too.
Does anyone have any other questions or suggestions or anything?
So when you do your text notification, so you gave the example of accident on 75 or something like that. So what has to happen from our side? So we update the website, and then does that automatically generate
Yeah.
a text?
Yep.
And so and then that's just the link to get them to come back to the
Exactly.
website.
Which
Yep.
we have that now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there should be, I think, email. I don't know if the text is activated on yours.
Yeah, I get texts.
But do
when
you
it just
get
says
the
it's-
actual text, or do you have to go to a
No,
link?
it will say, website has been updated, and then you go to the website and you're right at whatever has been updated.
But I think what we're looking for is that you don't have to go to the website, it's just
Right.
going to show
Right.
you that text message
Yeah,
period.
like a emergency or something.
Right, exactly.
Right.
And things like that, yeah. Yeah, there's,
And it's done in the same way?
no, that's got a, a different, service that, cause there's, certain rules for like, mass texting and, you know, cause you, not just any organization could do it, or you would just kind of spam people out with, you know, so governments have to get, approved to do,
Approval,
you know, you'll get, there's an approval process and things like that to get, you know, allowed to do that, and then, usually we'll integrate, we're working on like a system ourselves, but we'll use like a Code Red or another, software just to do that alerting for the mass texts. But the,
Anyone else have any questions?
in my proposal, I'll have links to all the sites that you can view everything and, you know.
Thank you.
you have
And then,
every-
do we have a deadline for him to get back to us, or,
You would like one?
yeah?
When would you like it?
How quickly can you turn it around?
Well, already working with, Coda, I've, you know, I think I know everything you guys need, so I can just, you know, whip out a proposal and, was it Monday, you know?
But if we have any questions, could
By
you
the
come
end of
back
the
to our
week.
study
Study
session?
Yeah, I live right in Troy, so, you know, it's no
Like-
big deal.
I don't know, August, whatever that day,
7th, I think.
August 7th, or our next meeting is?
Yeah,
We'll figure
yeah,
it
we'll
out.
coordinate the date and, you know,
Okay.
I'll make sure it's, blocked off my calendar.
Yeah, August 7th, just put that tentatively.
Okay, Monday.
Yep. But if possible, to send the proposal ahead of time, that would be.
Oh, yeah,
much-
you're gonna get the proposal here, you know.
Okay. Does anyone else have any other questions for Brian?
So when you come back, is there a way for you to like demonstrate the push notification for us, like just, or is that possible?
I'll see what I can do, and I'll get you an answer before the meeting, you know, what we can do.
All right, Brian, thank you. I apologize for the technical difficulties.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, appreciate y'all.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Next, we have public comment for items on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. Does anyone want to say anything about anything that's on the agenda? If you would like to say something, just come to the microphone. Okay. Next, we'll go for the consent agenda and need a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I would like to pull D.
But you need to make a motion first, don't you?
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
There's already a motion on the floor, so it needs to be seconded.
I'm coming back for, no, so, thank you for your.
No second? No second. Okay, then the motion dies, right?
Let's
So
make-
someone needs to make a motion for,
Oh,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. I was here, I heard somebody in the hallway.
it's okay.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda, pulling D, the disbursement report.
Is there a second?
Second?
It's been moved in second. Roll call for everything but D.
Roll call. Councilmember Jennings,
Yeah.
Mayor Pro Tem Cantor,
Sure.
Councilmember Canes,
Yes?
Councilmember Miller,
Yes.
Mayor Garrett.
Yes?
Motion carried to approve the consent agenda. We're moving item D.
Okay, Karen.
Okay, prior to the June 26th meeting, I asked for the credit card backup documentations for the $6,131.17 that was paid out in credit card payments. I was told that we're working on it. I have not received that. And tonight, we have another $4,400.
Can you say what page you're on?
For
Or-
June, I'm not on a page yet. We have another $4,400 for June, and, you know, like the backup information for that. I also asked for the breakdown of the events that we paid $2,425 additional for in May, and I did not receive that, and we have the same thing again on the June payments. So I would really like that information. I'm going to vote no on those things until I get the information.
Can you repeat what you're asking for? Because I was not involved in that.
I was asking,
So May, you're asking for the $6,000 in the credit cards, correct? Okay. And the $4,400 in credit cards for June. Okay, and what else was it?
the breakdown of events that we paid additional $2,425 for setup and cleaning and that kind of thing for May, and then also
And
for,
that's for Cliff.
yep, also for June. Page 58. And 59, there were payments made to Uliance for $2166.66.
That
Is that
is-
an annual fee?
That is the fee for the health that we had to get for the police department.
Right, and that's,
Yes.
that's annual, and it's split up
Correct,
between
between the
two?
administrative and the police department.
Okay, all right, thank you. Then on page 58, ERC LED, current month equipment, City Hall, DPW. What is that? They're building maintenance and repair?
We had LD lights put throughout the city hall, and I think that's what it's for, but I would have to check to make sure. But I
okay.
think it's for the LD lights that we had put out through city hall. so
Okay.
To save on electricity.
Oh, okay, then, what does it say? Trendset Communications, installation of cameras, $9,865. Was that the installation of cameras at the DPS
Yes.
building? Okay,
Yes, it was.
thank you. We have multiple charges for US Bank Voyager Fleet, and it says gas card, and there's 2865.87, 2846.85.
Those are the gas cards for all the police vehicles, for the transit vehicle, for the escape. So those are, and the DPS, all the DPS vehicles. But Sunday Brothers or Lathrup Services does pay for the gas for the vehicles down there.
So the ones under public service, they will reimburse us for the almost
Correct.
over $2,100?
Yep.
Okay, and then, okay. Thank you. Page 61, Giffords Webster, there's a payment of $6,414.28 for Southfield Hawk signal. What is that for? I know there was I thought it was Hubble, Clark, and Roth was supposed to do a grant request or something. What is Giffords Webster doing for this Hawk signal?
I am
Do you
not
know?
sure on that.
Okay,
I can find out, though.
okay.
Yeah, it's a
And then
DDA expense.
Under water
so-
and sewer, Giffords Webster water study, do we know what that is? $542.50.
542.50. I'll look into that too for you.
Okay. And then, Mr. Baker's, page 68. There are multiple references for Roderick Owens versus Lathrup Village. What is,
Mr. Owens, as you may recall, filed a small claims lawsuit against the city for his disputing his obligation under the sidewalk replacement program.
I didn't receive that information. Okay.
And presented it to council that the case ultimately was dismissed at a trial.
It was dismissed?
Yeah.
Okay. Also, Research title history and relevant property transfers regarding Golden Gate property ownership issue. What is that?
A portion of Golden Gate Park, which was previously land owned by the state of Michigan, was sold to a private entity in a land sale.
And what does that mean for our park and
It's
what?
privately owned
It's privately owned?
and may potentially not be a park for much longer.
Okay. And then receipt and review of multiple correspondence from city liability carrier attorney regarding a previous officer with the city. What is happening with any of that? With social media posts and press
Yeah,
press inquiries?
Yeah, there was, again, this is from my May billing, so in May, there was an issue where an individual had posted on social media, and there was some inquiries to the city with respect to the city's position and response, and so there was a coordinated effort between myself as well as the attorney for Meadowbrook that handled not only the underlying litigation, but also their appellate counsel that's handling the appeals, where we jointly crafted a statement that the city was to issue, and I don't know if they actually did or not, but my understanding is that they were receiving media inquiries as it related to that, so that's what that's for.
Okay, thank you. And that is in the appeal process, that case?
So that, well,
Not that portion, but,
that, yeah,
Yeah.
they've in all essence exhausted their appellate.
okay.
I think they may have one or two other avenues left, but it's, we can get an update from the appellate attorney.
Okay.
That would be more specific.
All right, thank you, that's it.
In addition to the June disbursement, we can also release all raises and payroll disbursement as stated in the policy, the personnel policy.
Yeah, so there's the inquiry was made last month as to whether individual merit raises, there were some questions about the process and whether or not the policy had been followed. Council had inquired into that, and the policy has been confirmed, and my understanding is that those merit raises would be dispersed as per the policy.
I thought we were supposed to get documentation.
Of
Did
what?
you
I'm sorry.
receive documentation?
Of what?
Of the hours and the evaluations and everything?
We were never going to get the evaluations because that would be out of our purview. I think it was the most that we were supposed to get was the fact is that the evaluations were done. And we do have verification that almost all of the evaluations were done.
Okay. Does this include the additional pieces that we were presented with at the last meeting?
If the evaluations were not done the way that the personnel manual states, then then there will not be raises until
Okay, and then
whatever there
what
won't be
about the
raises.
comp and flex time? We were supposed to see documentation for that, when it was approved and all that kind of stuff. Is that included in
that-
this?
No.
Those
Is
payments?
no, the flex
So-
time is going to be included in this part.
Yeah, what Mr. Schwartz, the labor attorney, indicated in the study session is that if council were to change the policy, then obviously that wouldn't be retroactive. The policy change would be going forward.
Right.
But last meeting, it was identified that all,
Comp time is signed off by the.
comp time was included as part of the weekly pay sheets and was signed off by operation of the administrator approving those pay sheets and sending them to the treasurer.
Right, and I thought we were going to see those.
I don't recall that we said that we were going to actually see them. I thought it was a verification.
Watch another meeting, but I guess it will be too late. Okay.
It was verification of, again, like we were saying in the study session, it's more or less the person who was overseeing the comp time. We were trying to see whether or not it was approved. Verification from the treasurer it was because the timesheets were all signed off on from their supervisor
And-
per the policy,
And going forward, it is being done through the ADP
ADP, and that's,
system.
yes.
And is there going to be a limit on it then, or we're going to have another conversation about changing that whole thing?
Yeah, if council desires to change the personnel policy, then that would be a separate discussion and action with respect to the personnel manual.
So we are paying out next month, this month?
We're paying out the raises as the personnel policy states. If there's an evaluation done from the city manager, then those people that have an evaluation from the city manager will be paid out.
No, that one I understand. I'm talking about that flex time stuff.
Per the policy manual, because we
You can't
didn't.
go retroactive at all, because it's already,
Correct, but didn't we, is it limited to the 40 hours that are in the?
That are, right, that's in there.
Was it limited to the 40 hours that are in the personnel manual?
that was for banking.
The requirement to accumulate more required administrator approval, the conversation that was had last month was that the employees are required to indicate on their time cards if they're claiming flex time or comp time, and that the administrator has to approve that. So if the administrator didn't approve that or would have invoked the 40-hour limit, that would have been noted on the time card, or should have been noted on the time card. And moving forward, council's requested, and Pam has indicated that that's all going to be handled through ADP.
Okay, and do we have a number? How much are we paying out?
So right now, I think one of them is 180, and I'm not sure on what the other one was.
100, are you asking what the total amount is?
The total amount, right. Will be paid out.
180
Hours
At-
for one.
At what rate?
At what rate?
I'm not sure what her rate is at this moment because I have to, because it was supposed to be after July 1st, so I have to put in
The raise.
the raises.
And
And the other one, I'm
180,
not sure what
180
that
hours
is.
are being paid out, or 60?
Well, I gotta get them down to the 40 hours, so whatever is over the 40 hours will be paid out. And you will probably see that on the next disbursement report.
Will it be broken down in any way, or will
It
it
will
just
be
be
the
a lump sum?
It'll be the lump sum in the administrative salary part.
And you said you have two. One will be at 180?
I think, I have to bring them down to 40, so as of right now, I do not know what they have in their
Okay.
hours, in their banks. I don't know that off the top of my head, but I will bring them down to the 40 hours. And then they will have to start using those.
Any other questions?
I do have one, and it's, and we've just brought it up over and over and over and over and over and over again. What's happening with smart credits? We've never
Okay.
gotten updates with that.
Is this regarding the June 25th
Yes,
or its own
disbursements.
webpage?
Oh, I'm sorry, page 74. We turned over all that money to the city of Southfield to take our smart credit money but to service our residents. And we were supposed to be getting reports for a year. We've been requesting them and we've received nothing. So we don't know if our residents are benefiting from these credits through the city of Southfield. We don't know who's using them. I mean, that's $9,600. Could we get it back and service our own residents?
And we were supposed to have a conversation about that, if that was going to happen again, which, again,
And we never
haven't
have, yeah,
got-
so.
Because we don't have the data on who's using it and what's happening.
And I don't know who's responsible to find that information out, but I would sure like to know. Thank you.
What was Sue?
Ms. Pam?
No, it
No,
was Sue
it's
and now
Susan.
it's
Sue, we
Pam.
asked Sue, we asked Sue multiple times.
We asked-
but we never got it.
I'm sure we'll get a response with Pam.
Also
Thanks
asked,
for the cost program.
Thank you.
Susie was assigned it a year ago.
Any other questions?
I think that was when she was the interim administrator.
It was Sue who was supposed to get the information for us.
And I will work my hardest on it in between the audit, too.
Thank you. As soon as you can, this is fine.
She was administrator. She didn't do it.
So, is there any other questions, concerns? Take a motion to approve the June 2023 disbursement reports.
Make a motion to approve the June 2023 disbursement report.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and second. Is there any additional questions, concerns? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Cantor?
Yes.
Councilmember Canes?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
No.
Mayor Garrett?
Yes,
Councilmember Jennings?
Yes.
Motion carried.
thank you. Now we go down to the action request for consideration. First one is the employment agreement amendment for Scott Mckee.
Actually, I think we need a motion to take, we tabled it at the last meeting, so we need a motion.
Need a
I'll
motion.
make a motion to pull the employee agreement amendment for Scott Mckee off the table.
Second.
Roll call, please. You don't need to have discussion about that, right? Right, okay, roll call.
Councilmember Canes?
I do have a
Councilmember
question.
Miller?
It's just taking it off the table, so you kind of discuss it.
Okay, yes.
Mayor Garrett?
Yes,
Councilmember Jennings?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cantor?
Yes.
Motion carried.
thank you. Now I have a motion for the employment agreement amendment for Scott Mckee.
What was that motion?
Just need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the retiree health insurance changes for Scott Mckee.
Second.
It's been moved and second. Is there any discussion?
Yes, where does Medicare play into this at all?
What happens is when any of our employees turn 65, they go to a different suffix. And then the Medicare is first, and the
If you want to.
suffix of the retirees over 65 is more for prescriptions and that, and it is a lot lower cost at that time. Because they're mainly the prescriptions that the city is paying for, not the medical hospitalization and that.
And that doesn't need to go in there? I saw it somewhere else.
That's already in there. That provision requiring that he take Medicare Part B when available
Yeah.
is already.
Is in there, okay.
That's in the whole, everybody that has it. And most of our group is, most of them are in that now.
Any additional questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Garrett?
Yes,
Councilmember Jennings?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cantor?
Yes.
Councilmember Canes?
Yes.
Motion carried.
oh. That's part, no?
Oh,
Next is the budget amendment.
Yes, I have a budget amendment for the 23-24 budget, and there's only one amendment, but we wanted it to reflect more of what the budget really is, because we did so much of the sidewalk improvements the last fiscal year before June 30th. We had to move $220,000 back to the June 30th budget year, and now that we're in the this fiscal year of 23-24, we still had that $220,000 in there, so we wanted to take that $220,000 out of this budget year that we're in now. So that's why we have this budget amendment before you for $220,000.
I'll make a motion to approve the $220,000 budget amendment.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved to second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Garrett?
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cantor?
Yes.
Councilmember Canes? Councilmember Miller?
No.
Motion carried.
Yeah, I think it's important just to make one comment here. To point out, I mean, so when we were talking about the budget at our last meeting, we couldn't make the change at that point. So the budget that we approved for fiscal year 23-24 had a surplus of about $4,700. So in fact, we wanted to get this amendment through here because the budget now really will reflect a surplus of about $224,000. So just so people know, when they go online and look at the budget, you know, it's a lot better than it actually looked from how we approved it. So.
Thank you. Next is the charter amendment.
So I can introduce this council. As a result of the changes in state election law and the state constitution, primarily resulting from Proposal 2-22, which extended and allowed access to voting for 9 days leading up to the election, as well as overseas votes to count as long as they're received up to a week after the election date. That creates a conflict with some existing charter provisions in our charter. Three of them that I identified in particular with respect to the terms of office for council individuals, the oath of office, and then the organizational meeting following the election. This amendment would, in essence, move back those dates to be consistent with state law. So whereas previously, council members would commence their term the Monday following the regular city election, this amendment would result in those terms taking effect after certification of the election results by the Board of County Canvassers, and additionally taking the oath of office. Previously, the oath of office, if not taken within 10 days, it would be the individual would have been considered to have abandoned the position unless there was a resolution extending that time. This proposed amendment would move back that, move that deadline back to take the oath of office to honor before the first regular meeting. And then lastly, the charter currently required that the Monday following the general election, city council have a organizational meeting. This would move that organizational meeting back to the first regular meeting. And again, the objective and thought process behind this is so that with the additional time required to certify the election results, the city is not attempting to swear in individuals or seat council persons or have an organizational meeting prior to the certification of those election results.
Thank you. A motion, please?
Motion to adopt the proposed ballot language for the charter amendment.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Jennings,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Cantor,
Yes.
Councilmember Canes,
Yes.
Councilmember Miller,
No.
Mayor Garrett,
Yes.
motion carried.
Thank you. Council, just so you're aware, this will, I will send this off to the governor's office as well as the state attorney general, and once we hear back from them, it will be transmitted to Oakland County.
Thank you. Next is a personnel manual.
The personnel manual, there was a couple of things that were changed in it. The one, after our last study session, we had talked about in the, for the comp time, for the overtime comp time, that I had to add a 504, and ADP payroll time tracker. All employees must sign up for ADP online to track their time earned and used. This will be in effect starting September 1st, 2023. Time must be approved by supervisor before it can be taken off. That was one thing that you wanted to have added to the policy, and that after all employees sign up, there will be no time, or no paychecks given out. They will get their paychecks online now and things like that. That was one thing. The other thing is the same thing as Mr. Mckee's, Chief Mckee's agreement that that the employees hired before 2007 should have lifetime medical benefits for employees only upon retirement. And
So
that
the word
should be-
lifetime has to be added.
And the word lifetime has to be added for that, and that was the only thing. And there are only the two of us that are left in the city. Everybody else has HSA accounts.
Thank you. Make a motion.
Just make a motion, so we can probably just do it separately for each.
Is it separate one for each or policy manager, manual as a whole?
I think you can approve the updates to the manual as a
Yeah.
whole in one motion, unless I would recommend doing it as one
Okay.
rather than piecemealing it, but.
All right, so I'll make a motion to add section 5.04 as stated for requiring all employees to use ADP. It actually needs to be corrected, it's on here as APD.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Actually,
You sure?
you want to do just the whole, you want to make a motion to approve the personnel manual with
Yeah,
the changes.
with the
That's
updates.
it.
Yeah, okay. All right, well, there's additional changes in here, the ones that we didn't discuss, which was 503 for exempt employees. I'm also going to propose that we return the language that we changed last month with respect to exempt employee comp time back to the way that it was.
And it is in there.
It is in
Right, and
there.
okay, so it's reflected in there. Yeah, okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to approve the personnel manual with the changes listed here.
Second.
I didn't know.
He doesn't leave.
It hadn't been mentioned, so. yeah.
Anyway, okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, is this something that was approved that you were supposed to have, like, or is this the lifetime health benefits?
Back when, this was quite a while ago, but it's always been said that we would, employees that retire from the city would have health care benefits. Back when Jeff Mueller was leaving, Jeff Mueller asked, or council wanted to put me on a health savings account. And Jeff Mueller had told council at that time that it would be better if they kept me on the health care because they could not put enough money in the HSA plus the interest that I would have earned on that money, that the city could not afford to do that. So he said that it would be better if I was to have my health care to stay where I was. That's when we changed the policy that everybody else now has an HSA account.
2008, after that, I think is when it changed, yeah.
Yep.
Any other questions? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Cantor?
Yes.
Councilmember Canes?
Yes.
Councilmember Miller?
Yes.
Mayor Garrett?
Yes.
Councilmember Jennings?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. Next is city administrator report.
I don't have anything at this time. I thought I did, but I'm trying to think what it was.
City attorney,
Nothing for me tonight.
any reports from boards, commissions, or committees? Nope. Unfinished new business?
Just a couple things here, minor. Pam, if you can, when you get a chance, just some updates on a few things, not now, but maybe at our next meeting. Just wanted to get an update on where we stand with the water technology project. Also, it's been a long time since we've talked at all about the SACWA meter on 11 mile, the oversized meter.
Okay.
I know we had, if I remember correctly, we had moved into phase 2 with OHM about doing that, but I haven't heard anything about that in probably 3 months or so, 4 months maybe. And then also the backup meter that SACWA was supposed to get us for 12 mile. And that I haven't heard anything on in a really long time.
Okay, I'll send them a email.
Next, we'll have public comment for 3 minutes. Whatever you would like to discuss, please come to the microphone.
Good evening, Mayor Garrett and City Council and the board members. First question I have sort of came up during tonight's council meeting, and I'd like to address it to our city attorney for a response, if you would, please. You made a comment of closing the Golden Gate Park down. I've been coming to council meetings and some of the study groups, and this is the first I've ever heard of this. And I was hoping you could expand to it, because I think the residents that use this park on a daily basis would like to know what's going on.
Well, the city had been approached by a realtor indicating that their client was interested in selling their property and presented to the city what was the city park, so I don't.
Who was that presented to?
Who was it presented to? I don't know if it came to Mr. Diamond, the former code officer, but that's who contacted me about it. I think Chief Mckee might have been copied in on that, and then Scott Ringler, the city engineer.
So the city doesn't really own that park?
So no, so this
that
is
land.
the park that was the right-of-way that was south of 11 Mile, that when they redeveloped, or when they developed 696, the state owned the surplus property. It was owned by the state. A portion of it's owned by this city had acquired, I think, the western lots. Going off memory here, so I don't have it in front of me, but And then the remaining lots were owned by the state. They were undevelopable lots. They were smaller, oddly shaped pieces that I believe the city had expressed interest in acquiring them from the state, should the state ever decide to divest them, their ownership. At some point, the state did that. Those properties were purchased at an auction, again, probably 10 years ago, unbeknownst to the city, that they had ever left the state's ownership, and then were subsequently purchased again by a different party. And this individual is inquiring about building a house on that parcel, or two of those parcels. So I haven't heard anything more of it since that. I think it was like May when you pointed out, when I was asked to research the ownership and when those properties were transferred. So I don't know what the status.
I think it'll be a real heartbreak to lose green space in the area that we live in, Lathrup Village. I wish you would reconsider that somehow. I'm not sure, maybe it's out of our hands.
Again, it was out of our hands when the state decided to sell
Okay.
it 10 years ago. So that, unfortunately, that, unless there's, and I did express, perhaps that individual in lieu of selling it outright to a developer would consider selling it to the city. But again, I haven't, Mr. Diamond left, and I don't know that there's been any additional follow-up on that or request for information.
What percentage of the park is it?
I don't know.
And you
I
said
don't
it's the
wanna-
west side, right?
No, so it would be the eastern lots. The city
Eastern
owns
lots, right,
the
we own the
western
western
side. I will try to pull it up.
So it would diminish the size of the park, but it wouldn't close the park.
No, it
necessarily.
wouldn't eliminate the park, but it
Yeah.
would,
Would
I
we
don't
have
want-
to move the play structure?
Isn't that something that council should be aware of, or was council aware of it?
I knew nothing of this. I know nothing.
nobody was aware of it until about May when we found out about it.
Okay,
so,
but it's July, so.
okay. Well, you've
Some
had a couple
council
of things
members
happen at
knew
the end of
about-
May.
Scott, I'm really tired of the excuses
Okay.
for this kind of stuff.
Are you looking up the percentage of it?
No, I'm
Okay,
trying to
just
find
making sure
the
that we
actual
weren't-
lot, so if you want to continue, I'll.
Okay, the other question or concern I have is, I'm really excited that the city was able to get a tree grant back in last
Paul?
last fall, early spring. We were supposed to be getting the trees and getting them planted around Earth Day, which is April. That got postponed to the fall. I just want to make sure we're still on track to have trees ordered, to have them available for the fall planting. Haven't heard anything about it. Is there a timetable? Is somebody working on this? Because I think now is the time, if you want to get them for the fall, now is the time to get them ordered.
We will find that out, and I'll let you know.
And you're on the tree committee, right? But you haven't.
there is a tree
But you're not
committee.
part of that,
Yes.
right? Part of the
It's hard to say.
discussions? Yeah.
I think the tree grant, didn't that come through the DDA? Got
Yeah,
that
that's
tree
why I'm
grant?
sending it to Susie right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, last I talked to Susie, it was still on track for the
Still on track, but I just want to make sure that they're going to be ordered. I think you need to probably order them soon and get a team together to do some, to help her out a little bit.
And to know what to even order.
Exactly.
Intruding on your property.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll let you know now, thank you. Yes.
Lauren Barris, resident. I've been coming to or watching council meetings now since the 2021 elections. And over that period of time, I'm sorry to say I've been really disappointed to see Councilmember Miller's consistent negativity and her failure to work effectively with both the city administration and the city council. Watching the budget process, in particular, unfold over the last couple of months was no exception. In fact, it was very frustrating and difficult to watch Ms. Miller consistently complain about items she didn't like, but offer no alternatives, solutions, or suggestions, just complaints and blame toward others. I've heard other council members ask Ms. Miller to come up with solutions or suggestions to the issues that she may have with the budget or with other agenda items, and not just complain. But so far, I've not seen Ms. Miller communicate in any type of problem-solving way. It seems she's yet to recognize that she's a member of the council and therefore just as responsible for the solutions as any other member. This leads me to a question for Council Member Miller to respond to during her council comments. Can you please provide at least one example of a substantial project or major effort that you've initiated or led since you've been on council that provided residents with a tangible benefit? And to be fair, I welcome all of the other council members to answer the same question.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? No one? Mayor, in council comments? I don't think I have anything, actually, I think I said.
I have one comment. So I wanted to circle back with my office hours. This time I wanted to do like a walk so we can, you know, stay active. And then if you have any questions or concerns, you can ask me. It'll be next Tuesday, July 25th from at 6:30 p.m. It'll be like an hour in the municipal park. So we have, you know, parking and things like that. Then we'll have a flyer to follow. It'll be on the e-newsletter as well. So
That was 6:30 p.m. next Tuesday.
Yep.
Meeting here. Yes?
Yes, correct. Hope to see people out.
I do have a comment if I may.
Sure.
I don't think it was fair to attack Karen like that.
Can you
and ask them-
announce who
Oh,
you
I'm
are?
sorry,
No.
Lori Kuhn, city resident. And I would just like to say, someone like Lauren Barris tried to have Karen arrested on felony charge for eavesdropping. So that's the kind of person who has it in for Karen for a long time. And she has questions about the budget, things that aren't answered, and she deserves respect. And I'm sick of people like constantly berating and not listening to her. Thank you.
Any other council people comment?
Go ahead, I'll go last. Go ahead, Pierce.
Yeah, to address the last comment, she's just asking a question. And to address your question, I mean, you open it up to council, so, you know, I can give examples, working with El Dorado to pave their street, so they have a paved street, working with Cambridge to improve their ditch system, coming up with the proposal for the water technology improvements to save the residents up as much as $25,000 a year. Yeah, that's just some examples. But I'd like to hear what's that? Yeah.
No, I was just saying, they couldn't hear.
Excuse me.
I know,
sorry,
that's
I had a hard time hearing you because we had someone disturbing us in the back.
Oh.
When you were making comments.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I would say the back billing to recoup $130,000 of lost revenue was something I worked with Pam on and developed the methodology for the back billing. Cell tower, I was able to get a free consultant for the city and then did the analysis to determine which option was best for the city. So just those are some examples.
Anyone else?
I just have a couple of things. We all received an email about 26215 Lathrup Boulevard and the ditch flooding. We received an email from staff members saying that the issue had been handled. I spoke with the resident, it had not been handled. I want to know what's going on. I reached out to her again, and no one has been in touch. She has flooding in the ditch that she did not have before city work was done. So we all got the pictures and everything, so I want to know what has been done with that since the mayor is the one that's supposed to be responding. Was there a response on that?
Yeah, so the dish system is working as it's supposed to be working. It's a different paradigm because her ditch, the upstream ditch was not functional because her culvert was blocking it. So it's a new paradigm in the way that it's working. The city engineer has confirmed that the ditch system is working the way that it's supposed to. They've addressed her concerns. They got Consumers Energy out there when Consumers Energy tore up her grass within 2 days. It did take them a little bit longer to regrade her ditch, because initially she did have an issue because it wasn't graded properly, and so the city came out about a month later and regraded it. Again, just the frustration that I have with this whole situation is the fact that we're supposed to funnel our comments to the mayor, which we did. The mayor asked me to contact the resident, and then Kelda sent a message out indicating that the resident had been contacted after, and the whole purpose of that message was so that a resident doesn't get multiple responses from multiple council people that may or may not say the same thing. But then you went ahead and you called that person and riled them up. She wasn't happy. She was after I finished explaining to her how the ditch system was supposed to work, she was not happy with the situation, but she was appreciative of the fact that somebody had reached out to her and explained to her what had happened. And then you contacted her without talking to Scott Wrangler, without talking to anybody at the city, to find out the things that had already been done.
I don't trust the process
Right.
and the information that I'm given or the information that I'm not given, because I can't get the
So then
information
you're just
that I
gonna go
asked
stir
for.
up the pot.
I didn't
and-
stir up any pot. She sent pictures in
That we all
boots
have
with
seen.
standing water, with dirt and bugs and everything else.
So you think it's appropriate to
I do.
contact the resident
I
without
do.
any information about what's been done?
I do.
What the city has, all the steps that the city
Yes,
has
I
taken
do.
to resolve the problem?
Because I was one of those residents prior to being on city council that
Okay.
didn't get straight answers. So one of the things that I did do was to force the city to address the $2 million water loss, Ms. Barris, which was not being addressed, and they finally found the source of it, and we're not losing water like that anymore. So I did do that, and I think that's a pretty big thing. And I have a list of other things that I've brought up, but this is really not the place to do that. This is not an interview session. And then last thing is Sacra. I know people make appointments to go to Sacra to drop off their recyclables, and they are they've added some Saturdays to the schedule, and they're trying to, make more appointments available to residents. But one of the issues is that people will sign up, make reservations, and then they don't show up. So if you are making a reservation at Sacra, please, if you can't make it, please let them know so that somebody else can take your spot. That's it.
I do want to send condolences out to Southfield Public Schools for losing one of their students. He just graduated in June. He was murdered, and of course, the whole school is upset about this. So condolences to the staff, faculty, and students for that terrible loss. Is there anything else?
And just to follow up, I did find it was March 6th of 2006 that property was sold by the state. So, and it's been, and I could show anybody that wants to see which exactly two parcels I'm referencing here. But so percentage-wise, I'd say it's,
You can show it too.
Yeah.
Give us an estimated number. We
So,
can't see that. We're old.
it's
We can't
probably-
see that far.
less than 10% of it, but it is a pathway that connects to,
Walkway.
But it's on the
yeah,
backside.
street,
I forgot the name of the street.
What's that street?
Can you send that to council, please?
What would you like, the property gateway website or?
The property ID numbers or something? Just information so we know what's happening.
start today?
Yeah, like I said, this is nothing new. This is something that happened 17 years ago. So,
It's new that we know about it, right?
well, it's new that it was brought to our attention.
Well,
It's
actually, we
not new
wouldn't,
that it happened, though.
if it was
It's not our
sold, that's
land.
not, it wouldn't be our land. A realtor would know what's being sold. We wouldn't know it, because it's not our land. Just like you wouldn't know really all of the houses that's being sold in Lathrup, right?
No, I'm not saying we should know about it. I'm saying when you found out about it, it's just, is something that should be shared with council.
You just
Okay, we just.
found out about it, that's why you're sharing. Answer your question about, I just thought about it, that's why I'm gonna answer it now. The biggest thing I think about is being on vacation and making sure that everybody, including the city hall, had lights. And that was going into, the people that I knew at DTE to make sure they came out to Lathrup and didn't sweep us under the rug, to get trees cut down, and got power back on, and did that from South Carolina when asking someone else to do it. That was here, but I won't go down that path. So anything that has to do with utilities on the back end, that's what I've been doing, trying to make sure that we never, or I should say never, because I don't want anybody to quote me, that we're gonna always have lights, but, to get our services done faster is for that. And I can't think of any. That's all. Anyone else have anything else to say? No? Nope. All right, well then I would take a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
Is there a second?
Second.
We are adjourned. Have a great evening, everyone.